getting close to parting ways with Ansumani Fati. Now, Fati's story now I am a kakra.
No competing from me.
And then that is what they are doing. Are very close. I think some more final stage of the agreement with club. Barca for no wants
mutual termination.
No, not mutual termination. But when say maybe a club now Barca and Fati on starting with a loan. But Barca for no some control in terms of sell-on clause any signing money, and that is where they are now. But I mean, so who capture you how they are, then you can see the most important one about Barca for not change on Bayernona, Yenya has it. And then some doors, I've wanted to ask you this thing, and I think that the last time it's a hotel between Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal. One is the most successful club this season.
Tottenham.
You say that these are the two North London clubs. One is the most successful.
So football, no. You see, we are the trophies at the end of the season. Or JD. It is some community ebedi na no pedia. Obviously, the Tottenham. Because
Barrich, to you, some common is it enough? Just because you BG trophy, you know, are performing abysmally, I will league automatic or a better club than Nipa or no what this second. Wako Champions League, the quarterfinals, Champions League, friend is saying quarters, honum. No, semi-final with Paris Saint-Germain. Wako Champions League semi-final, Wabo FA Cup quarterfinal, where the second will league. Just because only trophy to show, no, it means that the season I are poor than somebody who has finished 16th and then won a knockout European trophy.
Yeah. And then I make us say, and common, unless you're shining 2 foot. Say you're shown on sporting reasons and now on sporting basis. Some football na yebon yina debia make the last time I Lami Yama any Abrante is a Rafinha di. So say numbers. I don't the idea be call pulling numbers ne diaba. You pulling numbers in so it looks like a 32 Rafinha more than Abrante fence Lami Yama. The same thing applies to Tottenham and then Arsenal. Park in so born there boy in the Arsenal idea. Arsenal idea pa because Premier League near boy so to two. When to be anye about or to two. So the Tottenham beto to ho o mamukra. Enti ho na Arsenal but Tottenham. But you see football na ye boy ni na. At the end of the day, the deba judge o club no. Aye de odi kofie. What is trophy?
Yes sir. Doesn't the arguments become
say sana football no
me but say yeah, so sometimes our job is to educate kaka. Yes sir, doesn't arguments become too superficial and straightforward without context, without nuance? Like okay, what the trophy and one on your pong in the chest why are the channel. I don't know, that is the kind of conversation I mean say by now because in England,
so Kofi say all this uncommon about yeah. Then any my culture say Lami Yama on any day or you far ahead of Rafinha.
Based on
this community.
Based on what?
Born on you butcher Rafinha.
But the other thing Rafinha doing born channel.
I didn't know him born channel.
I didn't know so Lami in butchering Rafinha.
When I said this year in there from you.
They will
saw them.
Who I'm missing who is here Rafinha.
No.
Missing me the Rafinha.
Oh, the any based on numbers.
There Monsieur Rafinha and I'm deep numbers about attaching me arguments. I mean why do. But all they are no senior who keke. But it's enough. And it's different from the Arsenal arguments that making say Arsenal were this second. That is also data. That is something to back it. Wako Champions League semi-final, it's something to back it. Plus, what sounds why you are there in the local. The only thing is that we're not the pan-ultimate, which is fine. And I make us say, see, make his arguments now. It's not just superficial and too straightforward. Maybe I tell for
and the whole question you say, at the end of the day, the two North London clubs, why in a yard there? You go for your hand at the trophy guy. Forget about my position at Miano Premier League. Forget about ABA performance. I'm the man. Team beat Satorium. At the end of the day, Major Europa League, I'm the Copa Champions League. It is a sound common in the then to say the Okan is a straightforward idea. It's Stadium.
That's fine. So they made a team for
okay, Emma Musumremina. Me mom dey make choose Tottenham.
Of course,
me dey choose Tottenham.
I want to know what other people will say, whether a Tottenham and I say team my friend Arsenal, and I want to know and so explanation. Now they account Rich. You see, Barcelona in their history, they have always said they are fighting against centralism. And that is why the rivalry between Madrid and Barcelona, it is not just based on football grounds. It has always been about political grounds that in its very calm, cool demeanor, a metamorphosing into footballing grounds. Maybe people have always seen Estadio de Luis Companys. People don't understand. If you do a little research and ask Google and ask ChatGPT, say, why did Luis Companys Barcelona or name one of them stadiums, Olympic Stadium in Barcelona after him? You know the story. There is a Real Madrid link into it. And I'm saying this because baby Madrid and Barca drew in this current century and in this year 2025, going into 2026, next season and league na yebabebona. Which say club ne bako eda form. Na se nyonku 8 ano so they don't like it. Say Madrid edge Ballon d'Or players. Madrid edge Champions League. Madrid edge Spanish La Liga. Madrid edge Copa del Rey. When Barca are seated next and they are looking at Madrid succeed like that, they do not like it. What they want is that they should be able to compete with FC Real Madrid. If Madrid La Liga, almost Copa del Rey. Madrid Champions League, almost Club World Cup. They want it. And that is why when any boy from Barcelona Academy named Beba, a very good player, Barca want to do everything possible to make sure the star player no away. Especially when he is a boy that has immigrant roots like Lamine Yamal. So when the season ended and Barca were constantly journalists in Ebisa, Hansi Fleck must say, Lamine contract extension, the average coolest and I say blog runner for one Barcelona Chrome. They know that there may be a possibility. In the adding to the most secure boy in term, which the good news has come. Jorge Mendes, after meeting Deco, meeting Juan Laporta, having conversations with Lamine, Nankasa, Nene, Papa, Nene, all of the team, you know, they have agreed that they will extend the contract of our branch friend Lamine Yamal to 2031. 6 more years for the young man. And I know maybe catcher will say the base salary is a normal base salary. But the bonus is never become rich. Say Lamine Yamal is going to be the most highly paid player our team of friend in Barcelona. In a team of Robert Lewandowski, in a team of Rafinha, in a team of Pedri Gonzalez, in a team of Pablo Gavi, and anybody, Marc-Andre ter Stegen, Lamine Yamal will be the highest paid player of Barcelona. At age 17, or by signing contract when 18. And it tells you that Brony and Ejuma based on performance, not age, not Meba Hache, not Michelle Jessini Jao, but the most important player for them now and in the future, Aya branch friend Lamine Yamal. So that contract extension, Ebeba, and he will gain some money. Rich, there is an interesting clause. And the sad thing is that, Rich, in Barca's plan to elevate Lamine Yamal and take him to the top as the number 1 player in their eyes, you know, it has to be symbolic. In the symbolism, so Barca iconic number 10, no. Every Onwani senior brother, I mean brother in the sense of that downfall and stuff like that, from the La Masia to him. Rich, on the day it was made clear, say next season a branch friend Lamine Yamal, especially the Barca number 10, no. I knew that the road had ended for branch friend Ansumani Fati at the very least next season. Barca. Although Barca for money say Ansumani Fati now also per game time, so he wants to go. The grand plan is that Barca wanted to give Lamine Yamal the number 10. Yeah, the number 10 never just finished some they are. Then it means that Ansumani Fati has to go somewhere because I doubt say Ansu would have taken a different number, especially for him. Say Edu maybe numbers of only Jiri say oh no, and about the next year no Messi, but they pra any life and its unfortunate times in tea. Ababe Pimni say, Rich Nyetene say, Monaco for have agreed personal terms with Ansumani Fati. Ansu is ready to move to AS Monaco next season. El Honum. Their Aka Yedebe finalize the deal and say, Ansu say, of course, Barca and HS say, almost a sell-on clause, a certain percentage if the injuries no call and ultimately reinventing a career, our team a friend of AS Monaco, almost paper crash and that is what is in front of sport. Adios, which means bye bye. Ansumani Fati, El Honum, and Lamine Ebeshed and 10 years. In that contract extension, there is an interesting clause called the Ballon d'Or clause for Lamine Yamal. Which Barca wants the Ballon d'Or. And then Lamine the Peru, Barca as a club, they want the Ballon d'Or.
And they know says this boy beats me Mombi.
Yes, it is true. In fact, me know we are Jenny. I think so. Jenny say Lamine has a huge potential of winning the Ballon d'Or. They do. And they are willing to use the Spanish national team. They are willing to use the Barcelona team to push for Lamine Yamal to win the Ballon d'Or. And that is why they put that clause in. They say, you will win the Ballon d'Or and we will give you a certain amount of money. Rich, away from that, in the last 4 years, when you say Club World Cup neighbor corner, and the top two in terms of coefficient ranking of the various countries in the qualify, Barca and Kahumbi. And then FIFA's president was explaining, Barca had been out of Spain top two in terms of the last 4 years cumulative points from the to put it together. No? Barca understand that the main point in returning back as a European elite is one, winning the Spanish La Liga, getting a player like Lamine Yamal who can be a global brand, and then the next step, winning a Champions League and getting a Ballon d'Or player. After Lionel Messi, has any Barca player won the Ballon d'Or? Off the top of my head, I don't remember. And I don't think anybody has gone as close as Madrid have gone in recent times. Madrid have had Modric more. You have had Vinicius Junior last season, even Jude Bellingham in top 3 in winning the Ballon d'Or. Barca for have not had it. And Rich, that is why Omo tries to encourage Brent friend Lamine Yamal to go in there, win the Ballon d'Or for them. I believe, says Paris Saint-Germain and Champions League this season. A Barca player will win the Ballon d'Or and it won't be Lamine Yamal. I think it's going to be a branch here, your friend Rafinha. You see, the story of Juan Garcia, I may not have time. But Juan Garcia is Espanyol boy, through and through. Espanyol local rival is Barcelona. Barca, as it stands as of today, never really thought of going for a goalkeeper, meaning the AC. Because Wojciech Szczesny is in line to sign a contract extension. Marc-André ter Stegen wants to say. But I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, Juan Garcia is linked closely to Barca team. No? And then the thing is that Barca for the air say if Juan Garcia will come, he is asking for the starting goalkeeper of team, my friend in Barcelona. Rich, how will you be the starting goalkeeper when ter Stegen was when Wojciech Szczesny was in not keeping at the year? But it means that either Szczesny or a better friend of ter Stegen may leave. And now we spoke about this. In all of Barca's excitement, Xavi has one job. Who's there now? Andy Jeremy said, Xavi alone say, and say, what does he want to see about his club? Or can say, me say, we Madrid team now. Or person can focus, hey, Omuni Bobo. I don't think that is what Florentino Perez wants for Madrid. Florentino Perez. Person winning. On
born and the trophies never.
There be your boy the trophies back. Rich, well, you won't even chame me. And your boy the trophies back. Tottenham must be no more boy. Now some boy.
Zanko for the moon me drum pa Tottenham.
I know that Madrid wants to win. Next season, their plan will be to win. And at their back stance now, only say Alvaro Carreras deal getting very close from Benfica. It looks like Carreras will join team a friend in Madrid. 15 million. But what they've still not gotten is the central midfielder. Chelsea for them have made it clear. Enzo Fernandez or Montano. So Madrid are left with 2 players. One, there is a boy in Stuttgart called Angelo Stella. Now, I couldn't get that for you. Anybody that has seen Angelo Stella in Germany almost said too much. But apparently he's the next Tony Cruz. Me so say Andy, my a picture. Angelo Stella Richardo. The first time I won't say. Okay. I'm very sorry that I'm saying this, but you will laugh because but in Germany, he is the best player.
On me offer acrobat to the end.
Acrobat to him Ben Stella.
Any aquano.
Acrobat to him and Ben Stella.
And a FIFA man a day bobo. Man in your border.
Rich, Madrid von H. Stella. They have asked him a friend Como. Say a branch of friend Nico Paz, and I heard say not Gabi explaining very well. Say almost for a branch of friend Nico Paz and back. Rich, that is the picture of Angelo Stella. Almost 65% of name. And in Germany, almost it looks as if say he's going to be the next Toni Kroos for team friend FC Real Madrid.
Madam business uncle for we say no. Tama Nyankopon boni pa no.
Ehwe ne kwa no mkwaji.
Say Nyankopon boni na no dwane. Wo tuni say ababi e bu bia na afa ne sa. Akwa no nye. It
looks as if Madrid for next season we are going to get Nico Paz and your branch here, your friend Angelo Stella. Rich, what is Chelsea stories maybe?
Say.
Oh, one says our striker and saying 7 from Enra. Hugo Ekitike. Ekitike di body, obody ya training baby stick. Benjamin Sesko. And now there is a gentleman very, very close to Chelsea data team. Your friend a party. Usually, when I want transfer information, a year bad and new, our insights, I go to party. I would like not to share the account, a trade secret for me. Which party say Chelsea data team is a meeting in Europe's top 5 leagues. Omo share strikers at Chelsea here. In fact, the basis of Omo analysis, no any Omo meeting in getting some names was that Uko English Premier League in my season in Chelsea had the third best defensive team. But in terms of Omo share the most goals, no one underperforming edge, Rich, Chelsea in the top 7th. It means that Chelsea creating a lot of chances, but then they fail to have a killer in the box that will give them the goal. The sporting directors not catch a data and analytical team. Mr. Montanasi cram through the data of Europe's elite top 5 leagues. Strikers are very good in terms of almost goals. Then we can have an analysis, conclude at one person. But listen to the keyword: Europe's top 5 leagues. It means that the Turkish league is not part. So in that data set, there was no Victor Osimhen. We are talking about Italy. We are talking about Germany. We are talking about England. We are talking about Spain. We are talking about Portugal. These 5 countries. Rich, almost crummy data analysis. The top of the list. You will be shocked.
Anyway,
Abranti Efreno, Hugo Ekitike, out of France. The next person, RB Leipzig for center for the third Benjamin Sesko, and that's second. The third person, Portugal for Sporting CP for striker friend Victor Gyökeres, and then the fourth one is Abranti Efreno Liam Delap. Why? How is Hugo? You see, and I've said this. The info data can't arrive at any conclusion in anything. And data team, no matter what they will take it to the sporting team and then the technical team. Nhyira is a rich Enzo Maresca, any team in the backroom staff, plus Joe Shields, say, Liam Delap. And now, Chelsea are in a stronger position to get Liam Delap. Manchester United cannot even compete because Liam want to play in the Champions League. Delap would want to make sure everybody in the team, everyone is exposure to get to the very top. And Everton, Manchester United, Newcastle, and Chelsea will be able to price him out. Rich, in terms of Sikasem, Liam Delap is a little bit easier to get because just a release clause of 30 million from Team Efreno Ipswich Town. Rich, adding Tina even after the data, me as an analyst, I am not enthused about Hugo Ekitike. Rich, personally, me were 2 things, and even that's the reason why I me Victor Gyökeres, I'm not too enthused about him. Me who what's the name? Liverpool for center forward, Darwin Nunez at age 22. No, I said 62 plus goals in 120 games in the Portuguese league for Benfica. When he came out of the Portuguese league, it didn't wash. 2. Victor Gyökeres has walked through championship. Sebia Unimna was born in the English Championship before going to Sporting CP. A lot of goals. But Rich, I don't think that the Portuguese league is enough grounds for me to justify a centre forward. Away from that, I think that near Chelsea here as a whole, a striker or a physical or a combative, near the original box anymore, or something was a killer instincts. No, for me, the closest to that was not in Chelsea's analysis and Salah's no more. I think it is Victor Osimhen. Yeah. The closest to Victor Osimhen, in my opinion, I have Brandt friend Liam Delap. 11 goals in a season for a struggling Ipswich Town relegation. For the first season in a club like that, I will give a lot of credit to our branch friend Liam Delap. My problem is that now maybe after some analysis, now Chelsea data team now, they will come back and then look at the eye test, because the whole analysis has to be eye test plus data to arrive at the conclusion.
Okay.
Which maybe the Ubisamia, I would want Osimhen plus, because Osimhen 30 million. The lap 30 million.
The Nkame Beka names what the was no. You see, Monko for no more data. I don't know. So we data in the area. I test no way.
Say data for no more eye test.
Okay.
Data for the no data. And it's our reports and never coins of my scanning the backroom staff on it.
Say Sadia. Because say Sapadia in the Premier League now, I can't was no. So I was a per striker. Obetimi amount double digit. Go no Shadia. And yet the lab now Mkekano.
No.
Now Isaac move on my also fine.
Isaac doesn't fit how Chelsea wants to play.
Or Eden on fitty. Like how?
Oh, maybe I can say time, but Isaac can fit how Chelsea wants to
play. Or the probably next time be in your time.
Have you ever seen Isaac play back to goal? At Newcastle, he doesn't play against low blocks. Most of the time, Newcastle team a transition. So getting in behind is easy. And you see, Isaac for me,
it depends on team.
No, but Isaac
the formation and then tactics are coach neighbor.
No, but if you want my end fit. No, but any style, no. There are certain styles that don't fit.
Okay. Well, then you say anytime to him, stretch out in BB.
If you go to Germany, they call Hugo Ekitike the young Isaac.
Oh, no, crowd on Yadi.
Oh, when Cass won't share.
I'm watching.
Ekitike is a good striker.
Oh, you said Yadi, sir. Kofi Olana, the Nebia, Kishi, Obaba Bokichi. And you, Kofi, Mamma to Musican. Oh, there be a catch him say. Most sporting project in a year F. But when you want to say, Timo Maska,
and I see a better striker.
And Tina say, Striker now Moka Cotono. Apart from data number, more items don't count. And I say, very important.
I also change that Isaac. Ghost no qua.
Oh, Naso Abranton watch it. Watch says a proper striker. And number 40 modern day striker. I mean, oh, yeah, baby. League is on.
I don't think so, Isaac. I don't know, but
he's your man.
Isaac hold up.
ABS can somebody are fine, but
Isaac. Get him to Isaac.
Oh, Kofi.
And now Kofi. Okra on and
Kofi the lap is Kentia. The lap. Also on release the years at 13 boy. Hey, 13 more good year.
There be now Okra to play assisted 2 million.
Yeah, crown I'm young.
Yeah, it is.
Now so dear son now Ganzano. Masi abo bro.
Na Ekitike 82
million. Bra bra ya born of football mu.
Ekitike ni
Chelsea mu binti amunya botre kakra.
Ekitike ni.
And na akredanya ska no o question offer.
And so
Ekitike me offer mo bra.
Me offer hwenti enya san kamera so bitro. Ekitike 82 million no.
Kovia. Eversio na
yentu good fella do pay. Okay. Chip ne the other guy. Now, Brazil mo pe Brian Mbuemo. Obede.
Yeah, level no.
Brian Mbuemo obede.
Omo de yemre.
Obede.
Obetutu apisi.
Because Mbuemo dey Jack.
Eversio no. A brand message yemi depa tama ye discuss Arsenal ni Toriam no. Your friend Asante Emmanuel say this life doesn't reward effort but result. No one will remember Arsenal performance in 5 years to come, but always the record to show Toriam won the second best. I see a friend Asante Emmanuel.
Excellent submission. But I like the first line. This life doesn't reward effort but results. But
yeah,
I think
the money gidi at the end of the day, we and we see say.
Say changing narrative. Sometimes they say reward.
If
you are so
what's the son I need?
Yeah, reward the effort.
And
there's a rich be a
now it's
because numbers now numbers no.
Because we dey change you there wa can crese ma ye adwuma ya na ma wie. No bi be shia ma ni mo na Richard na yeah. Oh,
te go see say ne hu hia.
Oye o try radio no so go see sen.
Ne say adwuma wo ye ne ma fan say ma mo.
David.
Say o cash.
Richard ni dey so ye ni.
Matias.
And I so what me point na say.
Matias. Eh why your boys bet to you.
O say.
Boys bet to you.
As you want me